Good day, greeting students. I'm very happy to welcome you all again to your English class. As usual, this English class is also going to be informative and you're going to get some new words to be added to your vocabulary page. I'm sure that you will be adding new words as and when you recognize them. You have to verify the dictionary for their meaning, and most of all, you have to frame sentences with these words. Only then these words will stay in your vocabulary. Yes, children, the right way of remembering words or learning new words is completed only when you use them in your sentences. Unless otherwise, there are no new words in your mind. Yes, you may put them down in your notebook, but still they will not stay in your mind as long as you don't use them in your sentences. So make sure that you use them in your sentences, children. So, are you ready for today's class? Today, we are going to start our class with an interesting information. Eat healthy food to stay healthy. Yes, children, it is very essential in this situation or any other times to stay healthy. But how do we stay healthy? How do we stay fit? Should we hit the gym regularly? Should we exercise? Should we run on a treadmill? Should we go for a walk? All these things should be done. At the same time, it is essential for you to have a perfectly balanced diet. A secret towards healthy life is to eat healthy food. Yes, children, you have to eat healthy food which will supplement your daily routine. You can exercise, walk, jog, any kind of workout is fine as long as you have a balanced diet. But what is a diet? Is it eating less? No. The real meaning of diet is not eating less. Diets differ. The portions of carbohydrates, fat content, proteins, vitamins in different quantity makes up a diet. Yes, diet usually has all these nutrients value. So a balanced diet means a balance with all of these essential energy boosting items in your food. It differs as we want it to be. If you want to put up weight, the diet differs. If you want to reduce your weight, again there is a different diet. But right now, the diet we all have to follow is a diet that increases your immunity. Isn't it, children? Yes, it is essential for all of us to have a diet that gives us enough immunity power. Why do we drink milk? Because milk has calcium, which gives strength to your bones. There is no other supplement for the natural energy giving food. You might take enough pills, tablets, anything, but the energy, the nutrients that you derive from the food we eat is incomparable and irreplaceable. So, kindly eat healthy food to stay healthy and live happily. Let us have a quick recap of what we have discussed so far. We have completed our discussion about parts of speech. We have discussed about 9 different parts of speech. Right, children? What are they? They are noun, pronoun, adjective, verb, adverb, prepositions, conjunctions, interjections, and articles. Then we have started with your honeysuckles book? We have finished one prose and one poetry. We have seen the lesson Who Did Patrick's Homework? That was an interesting lesson, wasn't it, children? An elf who helped Patrick to realize that no one else can do his work, only he has to do his work so that he can get top grades in his class. Then we had a poem, A House, a Home. Yes, that was an equally interesting poem, wasn't it, children? It spoke about the differences between a house and a home. What is a house, children? A house is just a building that is filled with lots of different materials that are required. And I hope you remember all those new words that we have learned from our previous chapter. Then, a home. What is a home? A home is a place where we live with our family. Home is a place that is filled with love. Home is where families live together, they share and care for each other. And we indeed spoke about pets too, isn't it? Yes, we take pets as our family members, and I hope you have completed your simple work to write about what was the topic again? Yes, my pet or my dream pet. So that's all for a quick recap. Shall we proceed with our teaching now, children? This week we are going to start with our supplementary reader, which is a pact with the sun. What is the difference between a textbook and a supplementary reader, children? A supplementary reader is an extra reader. Supplementary is what? Something that is extra. This supplementary reader is filled with stories that gives us great moral values. If your textbook is filled with things that deals with your knowledge, your supplementary reader mostly is filled with things that is related with wisdom. Yes, children, it is not enough if we are only intelligent. It is essential that we are wise. We should learn a lot from the experiences faced by our parents and elders. At the same time, it is our turn to learn from our experiences also. What do we learn? We learn wisdom, and wisdom cannot be taught by someone, children. It has to be felt and realized by ourselves. So I hope the stories that are given in your supplementary reader will enable you to realize the wisdom you have within yourself. So are you ready to get into our supplementary reader and the first story, children? The first story we have here is a tale of two birds. Birds usually have tails that we know. What is this? A tale of two birds. What is the meaning of the word tale? The word tale means a story. So, this is a story of two birds. These two birds are born from the same mother, but the way they are brought up differentiates them. Yes, we might be siblings, we all are related somehow because we all started and descended from Adam and Eve. So, some way or the other, we are related to each other. But all of us are unique. We are different from each other. And how does that happen, children? It happens because of the way we are brought up. So, the way we are brought up plays a very important role in deciding who we are. That is why our parents make sure that we are educated with the proper moral values. Whatever we learn as children always stays with us. The habits that our parents want us to practice becomes us. Yes, when your parents train you to be humble, then when you grow up, that activity or that habit is not going to change. You are going to be a humble and down to earth person. So, from now, be thankful to your parents for the way they are bringing you up. So, however you turn up, it's going to be the way your parents bring you up. Do not hesitate to follow their orders. Do not hesitate to track down their wishes and try to behave in an appropriate manner. So, what is this story about? A tale of two birds. So, as I said, this story is about two birds. They are siblings, but at the end of the story, they turn out to be different birds. They turn out to be birds who are not related. How can that be happening? Shall we get into the story, children? So here we go. There once lived a bird and her two newborn babies in a forest. They had a nest in a tall, shady tree, and there the mother bird took care of her little ones day and night. One day there was a big storm. There was thunder, lightning, and rain, and the wind blew down many trees. The tall tree in which the birds lived also came down. A big, heavy branch hit the nest and killed the bird. Fortunately for the baby birds, the strong wind blew them away to the other side of the forest. One of them came down near a cave where a gang of robbers lived. The other landed outside a rishi's ashram a little distance away. So, what has happened, children? Once upon a time, there lived a bird and her two newborn babies in a forest. Where did they live exactly? They had a nest in a tall, shady tree. And what was happening there? The mother bird took care of her little ones day and night. Yes, because when the baby birds are born, they are very tiny, that they don't have wings or they don't have full fledged bodies. So they have to stay back in their nest. The mother bird goes out and brings worms to the baby birds to feed them. So one day what happened? There was a big storm. One of the natural calamities is that a storm. And what was happening during the storm? There was thunder, lightning, and rain, all three together. And as we said, the nest was on a tall tree. So it was easy that the thunder and lightning can strike the nest. And what happened to many trees in the forest? The wind blew down many trees. Blew down means what? The past tense of blow is blew, pushing it down. The tall tree in which the birds lived also came down. Usually, the tall trees are slender or thin, isn't it? So, this tall tree where the bird had its nest also fell down. A big, heavy branch hit the nest and kills the bird. So, when there was rain, the bird couldn't fly, isn't it? So if the climate is dull, if it is raining, you can't see any birds out. They will be staying inside their nest, isn't it? Just like that, the bird was in the nest along with her newborn babies. But unfortunately, a very big branch hit the nest and the bird was killed. But fortunately, luckily, what has happened? The strong wind blew the baby birds away. Baby birds are tiny, right? They can fly with the push of the wind. So, since it is a storm, yes, the wind was pushing or blowing with high speed. So, that strong wind blew the newborn babies to the other side of the forest and away from the storm. And where did they go and fall? One of the baby birds fell where a gang of robbers lived. Both of the birds fell in two different directions. One fell near a tree where a gang of robbers lived, and another one fell where a rishi lived in an ashram. So, who is a rishi, children? A rishi is a saint, okay? One who performs meditation, one who prays to God repeatedly is called a priest or a saint or a rishi. So, rishis are usually known to be with helping tendency. Just like that, this bird, when it fell near the ashram, it was in a bad shape. That the rishi helped. Okay, he gave food, he nursed the bird back to healthy life. Whereas the robbers, they saw the bird, but they couldn't do much to help the bird. The bird just stayed there and ate the leftovers of the robbers, and it got back to good health. See in this picture, children. So there's a thunder, storm, and lightning. Two birds are thrown apart in different directions. On one side, to be precise, on the left side, you can see that one bird lands near an ashram from where a rishi is coming out to see the bird. On the right side, you can see the bird and a gang of robbers under the tree. From these two paragraphs, I want you to underline the nouns, adjectives, adverbs, verbs separately. All the 9 parts of speech should be underlined and mentioned. So for noun you can write it as N, for adjective you can write it as ADJ, adverb you can write it as ADV. Like that, try to place all the 9 parts of speech in these two paragraphs. Not only in these two paragraphs, but in all the paragraphs in the entire story that we are going to discuss. So, first of all, finish reading the lesson after you see this video. After you finish reading the story, you can sit and paragraph by paragraph, you can find out the parts of speech individually and mark them down. So, when we meet in the school, we can definitely check our answers if they are right. So now let us continue with the story. Days passed and the baby birds became big birds. One day, the king of the country came to the forest to hunt. He saw a deer and rode after it. It ran deep into the forest, followed by the king. Soon the king lost his way and didn't know where he was. So days passed, and what happened? Naturally, the baby birds now became big birds. And one day, the king of the country came to the forest to hunt. One of the favorite pastimes of kings and ancient people was to hunt, right? So one day the king came to the forest to hunt, where to the forest where these birds were living now. And he saw a deer. It's not deer, children, it is deer. The pronunciation is deer. And he rode after it. What is rode? It is the past tense of ride. He rode after the deer deep into the forest. And what happened after a while? The king lost his way and didn't know where he was. He lost his way because he is deep into the forest. When we are deep into the forest, everywhere you turn, you can see only trees. So obviously, the king couldn't find his way back and didn't know where he was. How do you pronounce that word, children? It is not didn't, it is didn't. I'm repeating it. It is didn't. D I N T. It is not didn't. It is didn't. So the king didn't know where he was. He rode on for a long time till he came to the other side of the forest. Very tired by now, he got off his horse and sat down under a tree that stood near a cave. Suddenly, he heard a voice cry out, "Quick, hurry up! There's someone under the tree. Come and take his jewels and his horse. Hurry, or else he'll slip away." The king was amazed. He looked up and saw a big brown bird on the tree under which he was sitting. He also heard faint noises issuing from the cave. He quickly got onto his horse and rode away as fast as he could. So, after riding for a long time, he came to the other side of the forest. And by now, he got very tired, isn't it? He was hunting for a long time and he was on the horseback also for a long time. So, naturally, he and his horse got tired. So, he got off his horse and sat down under a tree that was near a cave. And who was in this cave? Naturally, as you would have identified, the gang of robbers lived in this cave. But the king didn't know that. And suddenly he heard a voice cry out, "Quick, hurry up! There's someone under the tree. Come and take his jewels and his horse. Hurry, or else he'll slip away." The king was amazed. He was surprised. He was shocked that he couldn't see anyone nearby, but still a voice said that he had jewels, and the voice called someone else to take his jewels and his horse. So he just looked up and he saw a big brown bird on the tree under which he was sitting. Which was this bird, children? Yes, it was one of the baby birds that came to the gang of robbers during the storm. Imagine the king's shock when he realized that it was a bird that was telling some other people to come and catch him for his jewels and his horse. And the king also heard some muffled noises, some quiet, uh, not understandable voices from inside the cave. So he thought that someone really lives there and he got scared by the way the bird spoke. So he immediately got up on his horse and rode away as fast as he could. What kind of voices did he hear, children? He heard faint voices. Faint means very feeble, that is not too loud. That is called as faint noises. And what is the other word that I said? Muffled noises. So when you are having something over your mouth and you're trying to talk, then that will not be clear, right? So that is called as muffled noises. So on hearing this faint noises coming from the cave, what did the king do? He got up on his horse and he rode away as fast as he could. Now the king was really scared because he doesn't know his way back, and there's a gang of robbers who would do anything to him for his jewels and his horse. So after riding for a while, he came to a clearing which looked like an ashram. It was the Rishi's ashram. The king tied his horse to a tree and sat down in its shade. Suddenly, he heard a gentle voice announce, "Welcome to the ashram, sir. Please go inside and rest. The rishi will be back soon. There's some cold water in the pot. Please make yourself comfortable." The king looked up and saw a big brown bird in the tree. He was amazed. "This one looks like the other bird outside the cave," he said to himself loudly. So, after riding for a while, what happened? The king came to a clearing which looked like an ashram. Clearing means a vacant space where there are no trees. Okay, it is surrounded by trees, but the trees in that particular space have been removed for an ashram. And which ashram it is? It is the Rishi's ashram, which has the second bird now. Yes, the another bird landed up in a Rishi's ashram. Do you remember, children? It was to this Rishi's ashram the king had come. He tied his horse to a tree, and what did he do? He sat down under a tree. And what did he hear? He heard a very gentle voice which welcomed him and told him to go into the ashram to rest. The voice requested the king to rest and wait for the rishi to come back to his ashram. And when the uh, king looked up, he saw a big brown bird in the tree. The king was naturally shocked because this bird looked like the other bird that was outside the cave. And what did the other bird say, children? The other bird wanted someone to come and take the king's jewels and his horse. But this bird, which just looked like the other bird, was very gentle. It was asking him to go and rest, to make himself comfortable, to eat and drink something. So he had a doubt if these birds are some way connected. And the bird answered his question. "You are right, sir," answered the bird. "He is my brother, but he has made friends with robbers. He now talks as they do. He doesn't talk to me any more." Just then the rishi entered the ashram. When the king told his doubt, the bird confirmed that the other bird, which is outside the cave, is his brother. And he was very sad that his brother had made friends with the robbers and was now talking just like the robbers. The bird also told that his brother is not talking to him anymore. Imagine the shock of the king. There are two birds, both look the same, but the way they speak, the way they behave are entirely different. He has met both the birds on the same day. He discovered that both the birds are brothers indeed, but they were very different from each other. One was very gentle, whereas one wanted to steal from him. And just then the rishi entered the ashram. So, will the rishi be able to give the answers that the king is looking for? Let's see. So, here in this picture, you can see that the bird is welcoming the king to the ashram, and the king is surprised and amazed, confused even about the birds. So the bird is trying to explain that the other bird is indeed his brother, but he does not talk to him anymore. And just then, the rishi seems to enter the ashram. So, children, it is really a strange situation, isn't it? Two birds from the same mother, but entirely different. Just like we are shocked and confused, so is the king. Will the Rishi be able to answer these questions? But before we move on to know what the Rishi said, can you come up with some answers? Yeah. What would be the reason that these two birds are different? Usually, siblings will have same characters, right? But these birds are entirely different from each other. Let's remember from where they came. They came from the same nest, but where did they end up? One bird ended up near a gang of robbers, whereas one bird landed in an ashram. The bird which was with the gang of robbers behaved like them, whereas the bird which was under the care of the rishi behaved in a very gentle manner, which means the bringing up of people will really make them who we are. To confirm this, the rishi said, "Welcome, sir," he said to the king. "Please come inside and make yourself at home. You look tired. Rest for a while. Then you can share my food." So, it's just like the bird said, isn't it? It means the rishi usually talks to people like this, and the bird has learnt this habit from the rishi himself. The king told the rishi the story of the two birds and how each had behaved so differently, though they looked so alike. "The forest is full of surprises," he said. So when the rishi welcomed him and asked him to rest for a while, he said uh, he wanted to share his food even with the king. He didn't even know who the king was, indeed. He just saw some visitor, some ongoer, some man inside the forest, and he immediately greeted him to his ashram. So, this is how people were, this is how saints behave. Yes, in earlier days, we can see that in every village or in every home in a village, you can see that they will have space for the guest arrive. We say that Aditi Devo Bhava, that is, guests are equal to God. That is how people were taking care of guests, but not anymore, isn't it? We are in a very bad pandemic situation where we cannot even treat our relatives as our guest at the present moment. It's a very sad moment, but still, there were days and months and years when a person could stay at another person's place as a guest. So, in such a time only, the story has happened. Coming back to the story, the rishi was not shocked to know the behaviors of these birds. He really understood what the king said, and the king said the forest is full of surprises. The rishi understood the situation. But what did he say? Let's see. After listening to the king, the rishi smiled and said, "After all, one is known by the company one keeps. That bird has always heard the talk of robbers. He imitates them and talks about robbing people. This one has repeated what he has always heard. He welcomes people to the ashram. Now, come inside and rest. I'll tell you more about this place and these birds." So the holy man smiled and he explained the king that a person behaves based on the way he is being with other people. That is, people say, right, tell me who you are and I'll tell you about your friends, or tell me who your friends are and I will tell about you. So such things state that based on the people who are around you will make you. If we are in between good people, knowledgeable people, we will also behave like them. If we are in bad company, then obviously we will also become bad. So the saint said that the other bird was always in the company of the robbers. It always heard the talk of robbers. The robbers, they want to steal things from other people, they want to hurt other people. Just because of that, the bird also imitates the robbers and it just speaks the way the robbers talk to each other. But this bird, which is in my ashram, has always heard being good to other people. He has always repeated what he always heard. Like, here, people are welcomed, people are taken care of. So, this bird has the habit of welcoming people to the ashram. Now that I have said so much, why don't you first come inside and rest? And I'll tell you more about this place and these birds. So, what did the saint say? He explained how people turn up, right? We will become good when we are in company of good people. Why is parenting so difficult and important, children? It is because it creates human beings. It is not anything about educating a child or bringing up a child. It is making a good human being. So nowadays, parents are very particular about giving you the best in everything. Why does it happen, children? Why do they want to give the best in everything to you? It is because everybody knows that the best in everything will bring the best in you. So, as I said earlier, wisdom is something that nobody can give you. It is something that you have to dig from yourself. It is there, deep inside you. It's some way, sometimes hidden inside the lessons you have, the experiences you go through, in the incidents that you face, in someone else's words. It's just that you have to have an open mind to get these wise lessons. So, the saint explained about the forest and he eventually told the king about the history of these birds, how a storm broke out, and how these two birds got separated from each other. The king understood this lesson from the rishi. He understood that his people should always be kept in good company. So, with the help of the rishi, he went back to his kingdom safely. He ensured that people were kept in good company, especially children, because children have the capability of imitating and grasping things very easily. That is the reason we give you value based lessons through this supplementary reader. I hope you have enjoyed this story just as I have enjoyed it too. Here are some idioms that is related with birds. Do you remember the idiom that we have discussed? Raining cats and dogs. Just like that, here we have certain idioms that is related with birds but has a different meaning. Shall we see some of them? A home bird. Somebody who prefers to spend a social and free time at home. So, a person is called a home bird when he or she prefers to stay at home whenever they have free time instead of going out with their friends. That's a nice term, right, children? When we say that my brother is a home bird, whenever he gets free time, he's always spending it with us. The next idiom we have here is swan song. This is usually given for final appearances. When actors, actresses, or cricket players do a final appearance, then it is termed to be their swan song. So, a swan song is when we have a final appearance on stage or in public. The next idiom that we have here is bird's eye view, a view from above, a broad perspective on something. So, when we use this idiom, bird's eye view, that means we are going to have a broad perspective. We are going to look at it from a long look. The next idiom is something we would have heard regularly: kill two birds with one stone. This is an idiom that is used when we are talking about producing two desirable effects with one act. Okay? So, kill two birds with one stone is what? Acting in such a way as to produce two desirable effects. Then we have fox in the hen house. So, fox in the hen house means someone who causes trouble, who is not belonging to the regular group, but someone who is different. Last, but a really interesting one, is this idiom: a little bird told me. So, when we want to share something without giving away the source of information, we use this idiom: a little bird told me. So, this is used when we want to share the information with others without giving out who gave you this information. So, children, did you enjoy these idioms with birds? Now, I want you to find some more idioms with birds in it. Yes, there are some more idioms with birds in it. So, talking about your takeaway from this class is a wonderful story with a wonderful moral in it. I hope you enjoyed the story just like I have enjoyed it. And we have learned some idioms which can definitely be added in your vocabulary page as well as be used in your day to day sentences as and when required. Children, make use of these words that you're adding in your vocabulary page to improve your language. Remember, we are aiming at improving your LSRW skills. It's not going to stop only with reading and writing, it is also going to be listening and speaking. Thank you, children, for listening to the class. May you all have a terrific Tuesday.